And we uncovered a whole bunch of things dealing with the Employment Security Department and the fraudulent checks that were put out. What's the status on that? Can you give us an update?
So what's really exciting to me is after you led the story in Lacamas Magazine, the Employment Security Division really ramped up to let us know from their perspective how much money is truly missing. I am not so concerned about the money missing as I am that it means that citizens of the state aren't getting the money that they need to care for their families, put food on the table, or pay the rent or mortgage. So that's my main concern. But also an outcome is that we were able to get several audits from the State Auditor's Office of Employment Security Division. Why this is important, and what I believe the audits will show, is that the internal fraud detection auditing devices that that ESD is supposed to be using were all turned off. When I asked Susie Levine about this, she said, well, we just have to determine what the culture is of our state. Do we just want to get people taken care of, or do we want to be fiscally conservative? The problem with that thinking, of course, is if we had been conservative and made sure all of the auditing devices were used, then we wouldn't have had people kicked off. We wouldn't have had bank accounts frozen and monies confiscated. We wouldn't have people waiting and waiting and waiting. So I remember my high school math teacher had a sign on the wall. It said, "The hurrieder I go, the behinder I get." And I really feel like that was the sacrifice that Employment Security Division made. They said, let's just hurry it up and dump the money. But in so doing, they gave away hundreds of millions of dollars in fraudulent activities.
Last count, they admitted to $650 million in fraudulent claims that were sent out. Is that number still increasing?
Yeah, it is. At last count, they didn't know. They're just not saying anymore. They're saying, we really don't know. We suspect it's in this range, but we won't know. And I anticipate that we, the public, and me as a legislator, will not know until December. There will be 5 audits completed. I'm certain that each of them will show that the internal controls were deliberately shut off. And that's
why would they do that?
Well, they would do that to expedite payment of unemployment. But like I said before,
is that incompetence, or what is that?
I think it's emotional thinking. I think someone made an emotional decision. We just want to get all this squared away, instead of thinking rationally, what could happen if we take this step?
So you think it was an honest mistake?
I think it was an honest, emotional error.
Okay. So what's being done to recoup that money? Or is it gone forever?
So some of the money is gone forever. Some of the money we'll never get back. But I will tell you that the White House and Department of Justice have been very supportive in helping us to trade, and in fact have been responsible for most of the money that we've gotten back. Unfortunately, this has a downside too, where personal accounts have been stolen or they've been frozen by banks, and then all the money is collected by ESD and put into their recuperation fund. The problem is many of these people were not fraudsters. They were just regular Joes like you and me. And so they had their accounts frozen and all of the money captured.
Now, what's the latest from the auditor's office? It's under investigation right now.
Yes. So there are 5 audits currently happening, and we anticipate, the sad news for me is it's taking so long to get the audits, but the fact of the matter is, but for pushing for them, they wouldn't be happening at all. So I feel pretty proud of that. Having said that, we likely will not get the results until after the November 7th election.